Super quick, make sure I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay. So I'm gonna wait to see if we get some people on here before I start rambling. Hope you guys have had a good Thursday. Hopefully a productive day in the shop. And yeah, so we're gonna be talking about some stuff here in a second, but I'm gonna wait to get some people on here. Okay, so had some big drops today, some big news, some leaks, I guess you might want to say. So, a couple things I want to talk about. One thing is how motivated is Wahl? So, I don't know if you guys have seen, but actually, I think Concise already has one of them. They have came out with a new trimmer variation of the high vis, the high vis Air, I think is what they're calling it. And at first glance, now I need to get on StreamYard, get to where I can actually show some images on here, but I'll get to that eventually. But one thing I've noticed is that I saw some teases from Wahl, some what looked um, like blueprint top stuff with the silhouette of the high vis in the background, and so I was thinking, okay, I can tell it's blue. I'm a sucker for blue. I think most of us guys are. Apparently, statistically, it's the most popular color among men. Maybe it's because we went to all the bathrooms as a kid. I don't know. But I like blue. I'm a big blue fan. But they came out with this image, barely could see that it was blue. And I was like, okay, so Wahl's just doing what Wahl does. They're just painting a trimmer another color and making it a big release. However, then I saw Fort Worth Barber Supply's video about that new trimmer. And it looks like it's a lot more than that. So they've relocated the switch. It's no longer on the side. It's actually a push button in the middle. It has USB-C now. Does have still the same kind of charging dock, but apparently it's like 30% lighter, which I never had a problem with the high vis as far as the weight of it goes. But you know, um, I'm curious to see what it is. I will say that started my attention kind of spinning a little bit. But then, and guys, feel free to comment down below. We can get some questions going, have some fun tonight, just talking about barber stuff, talking about what we love to do. But after I saw that video, somebody had leaked a video of the Wahl Senior 2.0. Now, you can see here behind me, this is my little decked out Senior. May still have a charge, we'll see. Ah, yeah, there you go, still has a charge. This is my little decked out Senior that I had for the longest time. Once again, I had my custom blue lid on there, but I have it with the Filthy Fins, Jesus, can't talk today. Filthy Blends bracket on there, and I have the phase blade on there. I also have the mod where you could put the Andis cutting blade on there, and it is the stretch lever bracket. So really good stretch on it. Opened up real good. Made me think of the stretch of a Andis Master. But I loved this clipper for the longest time. For a long time, the Wahl Senior was a go-to for me. But they never changed it. They never advanced it. It just got stagnant. And new video came out showcasing the Senior 2.0. And I'm not going to lie, I just by glancing, I'm impressed. Now, granted, it might suck in person. I don't know. We'll see. But what it looks like is kind of a blend of the Senior with the Vapor. Still has the metal bottom. Has a this line, instead of just coming around, is it actually comes all the way down. It kind of resembles that line that's on the Vapor, and it looks like a light that lights up. It looks very familiar. I mean, it has the same kind of blade, that same kind of looking blade that they've got on the Vapor. But one thing that caught my eye is they had some etchings on the side with the lever. And on the side with the lever, they had little etchings that kind of showed you what first position, second position, third, fourth, fifth was. And a little bit of a thumb screw here. Instead of having to grab a screwdriver, a thumb screw, by the looks of it, that either tightens or loosens this right here to either have clicks or a floating lever. Now, this is just me guessing what that video was hinting at, but that's what it looked like was going on, is that there's a little thumb screw right here, kind of what you'd see on a set of shears, that if you tighten it, it probably engages the clicks, loosen it, it's a floating lever. There's a lot of things about Wahl that piss me off, but who knows? Maybe that's why they've been so quiet, is they are trying to recapture what they had with the original Senior. I don't know, but I'm very intrigued, and I am all ears. So, what do you guys think about that? And like I said, I don't have StreamYard, so I can't show you. Well, actually, maybe I can show you. Let me see if I've got it on my tablet here. Can't remember if I saved it or not. I did not save it. Of course I didn't save it. But I am curious about what you guys think about a Wahl Senior with a tension thumb screw, to where you can go from clicks to floating at just the turn of your thumb. It looks like it has a very familiar same kind of switch. That's what my guess is. But who knows? Maybe that light is also a battery indicator. I don't know. But just the glance I saw of it, I was intrigued. I'm a sucker for the old companies. You guys know how I feel about Andis. I love Andis. You guys know how I feel about Oster. I loved Oster. If they came out with a cordless Model 10, I'd be all up at arms again, excited about that. I love the old companies. And so I am curious about what the high-vis Air is going to feel like in hand. You know, it's supposed to be lighter. Apparently they've gotten rid of the knurling on the grip, which I was never big on the way it felt on there. I liked it on the Babelist stuff, on the FXs and everything, because it felt purposeful. It felt like it was, smooth, and something about the high-vis just felt like it was lip service, like it was just etched on there just for the looks. I don't know. But high-vis Air, curious about that. Very, very excited about the Senior 2.0, just to see what's going on with it. Excuse me. Still getting over things. I'm sorry. So you guys are probably wondering, I'm talking about the Senior 2.0. What about the Master 2? Everybody's been asking me about that. What I can say is the Master 2 will still happen. It's just, we got to wait for it to be ready for us. So before I move on to my next topic, I'm going to read some comments real quick. I just got some in. Pantera Leo 56, hit the like for the homie one time. Appreciate you, man. Buster Brown, the new Babelist dual motor clipper looks interesting. That's I'm about to get to that here in a minute. Let's see. LC, welcome changes from Wahl. They are welcome changes. If it works out good, we'll see. Better late than never for the position markings. Master has had one for a while. I mean, I don't even remember. I think they've always had it. I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen, maybe some of the old 50s and 60s models didn't have the notches. I, I've never seen that, but I think the thumb screw change from click to float is also on the Phenom, right? So you can loosen it with a screwdriver. The big difference with this is that by the looks of it, it's like a textured wheel here, to where, kind of like tightening a set of shears, you don't have to grab a tool. You can just tighten it with your finger and go from click to floating. That's what it seems like. Like I said, this is me going off a leaked video. I believe it's at the Cosmoprof convention down in Miami, or maybe it was it Cosmoprof, or is it? Yeah, I think it's Cosmoprof. I could be wrong. Let's see. See, Stymie says, interesting innovation, but also gimmicky at the same time. It depends on how it feels. 100% depends on how it feels. I think that the idea of having adjustment without reaching for a tool is nice. I just don't know if it's going to really be what they hope it's going to be. We just got to get it in our hands and test it and see. I'm always optimistic with tools. Not always. Sometimes I'm not. I actually was very pessimistic about the FX1 whenever I first heard about it and it was coming out, and I ended up being wrong about that. I think it's a great platform. It's expensive to get into, but I think it's a good platform. But I'm optimistic for the most part about changes in the industry, as long as it's not, like you said, just a gimmick. Let's see. Guapo, do you recommend the Diamantes? I've not tested them yet. I've not gotten my hands on them yet. I've got, I think, 7 more things to go through before I end up running out of tools, which we're never going to run out of tools to test. There's always something else to work on. Let's see. Pantera Leo says, the dual motor honestly looks very much like the motor and the ergos. The AC motor sounds quieter than a vector motor, or perhaps a better, more refined vector motor. So that's what I'm thinking it might be. So let's talk about that for a second. So we talked about the Wahl Senior. We can come back to that if you guys want to. But that and the high-vis air, which honestly, it's interesting. The high-vis air, I'm surprised it's not just a paint job. And it seems like it's going to be good stuff going for it. But man, if it's releasing close to the Senior 2.0, it's going to get overshadowed big time. I mean, the Senior, I'm not big on a lot. To me, you could do away with half of Wahl's clippers because they're the same clipper and just make it one clipper. The Sterling 4, honestly, the entire Sterling line could just merge with, I don't know what they're doing. So you have Wahl Pro, you have Wahl 5-star, and you have Wahl Sterling. So combine them. I know that one's supposed to be for barbers and one's supposed to be more of a at-home thing, and the other one's supposed to be a cosmetologist thing. Anyway, sorry, I go off on tangents. To me, the Magic Clip, the Designer, and the Sterling 4 are the same clipper. They just have either a different blade or a different paint job, and it's the same tool. The Senior always stood out because the Senior it's old school. Somewhere I've got a couple pair of Seniors that my dad used back in the 60s or 70s, and honestly, they don't look that different. Good clippers. I love the Senior. Tangents welcome. I appreciate it, man. So I think that the Wahl brand, they've got the biggest brand in the world whenever it comes to these tools. Wahl is just, I mean, they're everywhere. You can see them here for the tangents. Yeah. I guess I'm known for my rants. I don't know. I tend to, if I get a soapbox, I tend to stand on it and get pretty loud. But yeah, with Wahl, I've kind of gotten over the fact that they continue to rehash old designs. Yeah, the Legend's another one. Yeah. Um, they just rehash designs and come out with a new look and act like it's a new Clipper, and it's not. The Senior always stood apart for that. And to me, whenever I think about the big three of old school barbering, it's the Andis Master, the Wahl Senior, and the Oster Fast Feed. And then you also put on a pedestal the 76s or the Model 10s. That's up there too. By the way, can you guys hear me good real quick before I continue ranting? Can you guys hear me all right? I'm not sure how charged this little mic is right now, so I'm just making sure. Loud and clear. Awesome. Thank you. So, um, yeah, I'm with when it comes to Wahl, I'm hopeful to see them kind of maybe re-engage the barber community more. It's just they kind of don't have to because they're such a big name. That's kind of what sucks about that level of popularity in a market is that whenever you're the name, you really don't have to do much to keep selling numbers. People have name recognition with Wahl. I don't know how they did it the way they did, but they did. But because of that, their brand and the way that we respect them has suffered. Um, so let's talk about the dual coil motor with Babyliss. So the teasers were out there. I mean, the first teaser I think was of the charging base, um, and I think that at first, I mean, I know some people were like, "Is this going to be a cordless hair dryer?" If anybody would do it, Babyliss would do it. So going through and looking at everything, um, the little clips as far as like the silhouette of the clipper, it has a smaller shape. It seemed nice and compact. And then they started giving us little hints. Now, at first, I thought it was like a triple charging base in the background of a picture. And like I said, if you want to know what I'm talking about, just go to the Instagram. You can see it. Um, but it ended up being the space in between two coil, like magnetic coil motors. Now, whenever I think of what is a good magnetic motor that was cordless, I think about the uh, the Mythics. I think about the Ergos. Um, and it's one thing that, like me personally, I feel like the Andis Master. If I wanted to have perfect world scenario for me, the Andis Master would be a magnetic cordless motor because I want to hear that quiet hum. You can't really duplicate the power surge that happens whenever you turn it on, but is what it is. So they come out with this dual coil thing, and the way it seems is that it's maybe a hybrid between that kind of magnetic cordless clipper like the X Ergo and a vector motor, somewhere in between. Because I mean, we're looking at 9,500 RPMs with the clipper and 8,500 RPMs with the trimmer, which, if you wonder why those RPMs sound familiar, that's also the same kind of RPMs that we have in the Andis Recons. I think it's either 9,500 or 9,000 for the clipper, 8,500 for the trimmer. So I'm curious about what it's going to feel like in hand, what's going to cut like, what the vibration is going to be like. I applaud Babyliss for stepping outside their comfort zone because, brushless motors, that's what they've always kind of relied on. Now doing something that's a little out of their comfort zone, a little bit more power. I mean, this is going to be the most powerful clipper we've had from Babyliss. The highest RPMs we've ever gotten on one of their tools is, I think, 7,500 or maybe it's just 7,200. So 9,500 RPMs, that's a jump. But yeah, by the design of it, I'm thinking it's a hybrid between magnetic and vector. Some like I think they call it linear motors. Um, I'm I'm here for it. I'll be very excited to try it out. I do like some of the design cues. It's just one thing that, and this is where it makes me nervous for Babyliss. And so, here's the thing. I heavily respect Babyliss, but for some reason, they try something new, and I get a little worried about them because I did that with the FX1. Now I'm doing it for this. But they have a noise problem. Babyliss as a whole has a noise problem. And I know that people have hacks of how to keep the noise down, this and that, but why is it that it's always Babyliss that has the loud trimmer blades for whatever reason? And so loud motor, if it is like a linear style vector hybrid motor, that mixed with their noise problem that they have with their blades, that could be a loud ass trimmer. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but that could be a loud ass trimmer. So I'm curious. I cannot wait to try them out. I have a lot of respect for Dennis. I like Dennis. I like they're very careful with how they push stuff forward. I will say they don't just create tools just to create tools. I just finished up my reviews on the Low Pro Compact series, and I'm about to be doing my reviews on these right here, the Core FX. And I'll go and tell you guys straight up, I got a lot to say about these. So that's the only teaser I'll give you, but each individual one is coming out with a review soon. But yeah, let's look at the comments real quick, see what we're at. We'll get back to another design cue I really liked about the Senior 2.0 here in a second. So let me pull this up. But let me go through. Oh, geez, you guys have been at it. Let's see. Tangents, welcome here for the tangents. Buster Brown did say the dual motor Babyliss had a lot of similar characteristics as the Recon Clippers from what I saw. Possibly. Just curious about how the motor distributes power. I mean, it's the vector / linear motor. I mean, it's such a powerful little motor that I get why everybody's wanting to have a version of it. Stymie says, is the Legend Plus just a new paint scheme? I think it is. Now, granted, it does have a stretch with the arm. That's something that they did. But, I mean, it's same shape, plastic shell, no major differences with Wahl with that. Let's see. Pantera Leo, old school Wahl designers, I believe might be 11 to 13 watts. I still love them, but they get ridiculously hot. The quarter ones, at least. Yeah, the old school ones, yeah. I mean, and let's be honest, guys, for the most part, chords are dead. We can play taps, we can, say some kind words at their grave, but they're dead. Okay, so y'all can hear me good. I appreciate the feedback on that. Just Mix says, don't forget about the Oster 111s. The biggest flaw for the 111s, and I think it's why they had to discontinue it. It was a good clipper. It looked like if you guys don't know what I'm talking about with that, look up Oster 111s. It looked like a 76 had an affair with a stealth fighter, and brought those black angles into a 76 format with a big slide switch on it. I think it was just single speed, though, if I remember correctly. It's been a long time since I've touched one. But the biggest problem with the 111s is they had a certain blade armature, where the armature fits onto the blade. It couldn't use 76 blades. It had to use 111 blades, and those 111 blades could not be used on the 76. And to me, that was a big mistake. I mean, even Andis, whenever they got into the detachable game, was like, hey, Oster made the format. Let's go with that format of blade. So you can use Oster blades on 76s. I mean, you can use Oster blades on BGRs and all that stuff. And so so to me, like, the 111 was an easy cancel on that. Honestly, it kind of looks like if you took a beefy Octane take an octane and have it bulk up for a season. That's what what it looked like. But I mean, it was a good clipper, corded. It was also corded. Let's see, where are we at? Pantera Leo says the Oster turbos were badass. Turbos. Was that the little? It was a corded detachable, I believe, with a kind of a rubber grip on it, kind of sleek, if I remember correctly. Is that what you're talking about? I think that's what you're talking about. Could be wrong. I'm getting old, man. I don't know. Detachable clippers are still badass. Yeah, they are. Neil, hey TWB, hey Neil, what's up, brother? I love seeing you guys from. Appreciate the love. You know, watching me from. You know, I see most of you guys over there on the Concisus thing. I appreciate you guys coming on here too. I really do. Pantera Leo also says 50 cal by caliber were and still are dope. You know, I didn't like every iteration of the 50 cal, but I did love the 50 cal BMG. The smaller waist of that clipper was that's a good clipper, man. Caliber besides the that new one they just came out with, I forget what it's called. The little white one. Besides that one, I haven't really heard from them in a while. So I mean, I would love to see more from them. Neil says it's linear motor. Yep, looks fire, but I can't do the vector motor. Way too loud. And that's where, like I said, it worries me for Babeless, man. It really does. Pantera confirms, yeah, the vector is too loud. Excuse me, guys. Still a little bit under the weather. Promised myself I wouldn't purchase a vector motor, but the design is fire. It is. It honestly kind of reminds me of a slimmed up T45. Like if you took the top part of a T45 and kind of just took that fat bottom off and just kind of slimmed it down, it looks maybe around the same size, which is a good size. I mean, excuse me, guys, I apologize. The T45 was just a little bit longer than the Master, I believe. Good compact size. It was a thick boy. It was, as T-Pop would say, it was a burrito. That was a terrible accent, Jesus. But I'm hyped for the magnetic T45 style guards. Man, those guards are my go-to. I wish that they actually went out to like a 6. I mean, I'd hardly ever use that, but just to have them. In my opinion, between those and the purple magnetics are probably my two favorite guard sets. The green T45 for me took the place of the T-Pod premiums. I was using those a lot. And the Wahl premiums, I mean, that's the gold standard. That for a long time, that was the guard to go with. Let's see. Pantera says, no, I agree. It's nice. Yeah, it's a good design, man. Noise of the Babeless machines has turned me away from them. That's the thing. It's an ongoing problem, especially whenever you buy a new tool. And within like the first couple haircuts, I mean, they said for the longest time it was the cam follower, and they would include a new cam follower. But that wasn't it. I think the technical term is a yoke for that. If you guys don't know what that is, it's either the little black or white part that fits onto the motor that fits onto the blade. But yeah, they said it was that. You'd replace it, it'd still get loud. Let's see. The Octane took the design, like I said, the Octane took the design cue from the 111. Yeah, it very, very similar. Sammy asked me, how did I do with the winter storm last week? So, if you guys don't know, I live in Alabama, but my barbershop and majority of my business is up here in the Nashville area. Nashville got hit hard. Um, in the area that I'm at, I could tell some inconvenience with the ice happened, but it didn't really affect my shop area. However, there's some places a little west of me and a little further into Nashville than where I'm at. They got hit really hard. Some people are still without power, and that's 5, 6 days ago. But um, but yeah, so that's kind of what's going on with that. Let's see. Thank you for asking. Appreciate it, Stymie. Let's see. Neil says, I can't imagine a client sitting with that horrible hum. You know, it's not as bad. It's just that in the world of clippers getting as good as they've gotten, it's kind of hard to make an excuse for it. I mean, the with the T-Pod play, uh, with the JRL, and I mean, there's a ton of clippers right now that are 56, 57 decibels and below. I mean, there's some time